ladies and gentlemen, Twitter executives, morally superior, highly educated, wonderful liberal Democrats on that platform are now experiencing what they have leveled against any voice, conservatives primarily, but any voice that opposes them or gives them any critique or any dissent at all. The Hunter story is an example. Hunter's emails right before people decided on the next president, that story was suppressed for a specific political reason. It was suppressed and silenced because it hurt the Democratic Party. Twitter executives are liberal Democrats. The people who are leaving Twitter vote for mashed potato brains, our president, and before that Clinton, and before that President Obama, and before that Bill Clinton. They voted blue no matter who their whole lives. And so they do not want any opposing viewpoints. They don't want even views that infringe upon their sensibilities. We've gone beyond, hey, this is a true story. Hunter's emails are being suppressed, but the Steele dossier is not against Twitter guidelines. So that is a clear-cut violation of just basic logic and democracy. You can't have a social media platform side with one political party and go against another political party. That's why the country of India, I respect so much, Narendra Modi, I respect so much, they essentially kicked Twitter out of their country. Or they said, look, if you don't abide by rules and guidelines, the laws of this country, because they were siding with one political party against Narendra Modi's political party. They said if you don't abide by the laws of India, you're going to be liable, and essentially you're going to be forced out of this country. And within a day or 2 days, Twitter then said, "Oh my God, okay." And then they were forced to, I don't know what they did. They very likely changed an algorithm, but they were forced to go ahead and abide by the country's laws of being neutral. Not so in the United States of America. Again, the Steele dossier was not against guidelines. It was complete nonsense, fabricated. And because the notion that the government can't spread conspiratorial nonsense, and we're finding that out from the Durham probe, special counsel, the government, and Trump's direct political rivals can definitely spread lies and deceitful statements. Which, by the way, Elon Musk acknowledged in a tweet in a response to Mike Cernovich, his tweet, where you have Twitter lawyer Jim Baker, when general counsel of the FBI saw this, I didn't even know this, James Baker, the top legal counsel who met with Michael Sussman, is now a Twitter attorney, okay? Personally arranged a meeting between FBI and Michael Sussman. In this meeting, Sussman presented fabricated evidence in the Alpha Bank matter. Elon Musk, this is who is inside Twitter. He facilitated fraud. Elon Musk sounds pretty bad. So he knows what's going on. Almost certainly Baker's not going to be there. Not because he said something in a tweet 20 years ago, which is how Democrats go after people. The same people, there's a YouTuber, million plus channels. Oh yeah, they never go Democrats, and they don't go after people. There was a journalist, left-leaning journalist, that called his university, okay, or he says that the left-leaning journalist called his university to complain about his behavior, or to get him fired, basically. But anyway, it's not like that. This is like, oh, you're actually setting up and framing, you're helping set up and frame an incoming president who happens to be Republican. Or in this case, Trump, a Trump Republican, the original Trump Republican. And this is the basis, one of the, first, chains of events that took place within the setting up of and framing of Trump and everyone around him by social media companies, including Twitter, or at least by the Democratic Party, people they hired, the Clinton campaign, loyalists within the U.S. government who were just more than happy to accept any pretext to investigate Trump, even if it was a Steele dossier purchased by his direct political rivals, or an absurd allegation from Michael Sussman and his team of tech researchers pertaining to, who he could have, a secret server. So the whole thing, Elon Musk backs the Durham probe special counsel, and And he said, and he acknowledged that the Hunter story being suppressed was complete nonsense. And hit subscribe to this channel, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Very important segment. But hit subscribe to the stock market crash channel. That we're going to have a devastating stock market. We are seeing a devastating stock market crash at the beginning of. And I talked about all of this, all the economic consequences of ending economic activity 2 years ago. We are experiencing record highs in inflation, gas prices, energy prices through the roof. We're seeing all of this, and I talked about that, and I predicted all of this in October in the Federalist. So I wrote in the Federalist, read the article in the pinned comment, subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. By the way, if you see any phony profiles, because there's sometimes on YouTube there will be a phony profile of the content creator saying, hey, message me on WhatsApp. That's not me. It's never me. So just delete that or report that fake phony profile. You'll see a check. You'll see a check right next to my name if it's actually me. But I never really, I hardly ever respond to any of the comments anyway. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. Then Rolling Stone goes after Cigar Agenti, calling him a right-wing YouTuber. He's not at all labeled. He could never be labeled as that because that's not who he is. Cigar Agenti is just more of a conservative voice and rational, logical, never offensive to anybody. So Rolling Stone disparages him and writes on Twitter that one of the attorneys, the top censorship advocate of Twitter, who famously on Joe Rogan's gaslit the world on Joe Rogan's podcast and censored the Hunter laptop story, is very upset Elon Musk takeover. And in reply to Agenti's tweet, Musk repeated the criticism of soon-to-be employees. Suspending the Twitter account of a major news organization for publishing a truthful story was obviously incredibly inappropriate. As a consequence, this person has been subject to intense, mean responses. What do you think? What does Rolling Stone think happened to any conservative, any person, even on the left? When I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, in 2016, it wasn't anyone else. This is before I became a supporter of President Trump. Okay? My articles in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Jerusalem Post were going viral. The Daily Beast ran an unethical, absurd hit piece on me. Where was the Rolling Stone to defend me? No, nowhere to be found. Where was the Rolling Stone there to say, even, and just because he was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Bernie's most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, H.A. Goodman was being disparaged by a left-leaning, extreme left, far left publication, where even I think NewsGuard or other news rating sites view it to be an extreme organization, the Daily Beast. Where was that from Rolling Stone? That's exactly what takes place on the internet, and wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrats, including writers within the Rolling Stone, level vitriol and don't care about the consequences. But they care about the consequences. God forbid Elon Musk gives his opinion on an actual. You cannot debate. There's no debate. There's no rebuttal to what Twitter did with censoring a real story simply because James Clapper. This is the formula. A terrible, corrupt, highly corrupt, almost certainly illegal story comes out pertaining to Democrats. The public relations machine finds 100 former, current U.S. officials or intel officials. They sign a letter. We disagree. Or former justice officials. We want this person out. We don't like Kavanaugh. We don't like Trump. We don't like this person. We don't like that person. We don't like Hunter's emails. And then they signed all the smart people. And then Twitter's board of directors get it. And they say, well, all the smart people signed this letter saying this happened. So anyone who falls outside of whatever this letter says, signed by James Clapper and Brennan or whatever, and all these intelligence officials, we're just going to go with that. Not a court of law, not anything else. It's like when Major League Baseball left Georgia, even though the Supreme Court backed the laws there, or backed that type of law, was saying wasn't against any civil rights existing laws. Notice how the Supreme Court has not struck down any of those laws. Gee, I wonder why. But that didn't stop Major League Baseball, and that doesn't stop Twitter from silencing others. And it didn't stop Twitter from suspending Trump, even though in a court of law he wasn't found to compel anyone to commit violence. So Twitter will look at liberal sensibilities or whatever the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, Rolling Stone, Vanity Fair, Esquire, Mother Jones, The Nation, CNN, I said MSNBC, The New Yorker, New York Magazine, The Atlantic, BuzzFeed, Vice, this entire public relations monstrosity with about, you can add everybody there, 1,000 people, writers and editors. Less than that, probably about 400. Okay, of all the people I just mentioned, writers and editors. Less than that, probably. And all hardcore blue, vote blue no matter who, liberal Democrats, maybe 500, 600, who knows. And this is, I'm talking about of the people who get published all the time, editors, okay, decision makers. And this is what Twitter uses to decide who's good, who's bad. But you can't do that. That's what happened in India. Twitter was almost forced out. Then they had to say, okay, we'll be neutral. Okay? And it's like you look at the way here, TheVerge.com, Twitter has lost legal immunity for users' posts in India, government argues, over failure to comply with new rules. This is The Verge, okay? And here, this is NPR. Twitter in standoff with India's government over free speech. No, the free speech means you don't side with one political party. Okay, here, this is thehindu.com. Twitter defaming India, defying law, says government. Because that's what Twitter does. That's God bless the government in India. They did the exact right thing. And that's what Twitter does here. New Indian Express, Twitter is not above our country's laws. Okay? Twitter has been above our country's laws for a long time. Sorry, that's going to change. You can't level... Okay, Rolling Stone is upset that Twitter executives are experiencing, just really horrible people telling them, bad things. Well, that happens all the time to anyone disparaged by the Rolling Stone. That happens all the time to anyone disparaged by the Daily Beast. That happens all the time to anyone disparaged by any Hollywood celebrity. Look what happened to Nicholas Sandmann. Look what happened to Trump's son. Look what happened to anyone. I was a Bernie Sanders supporter. All my writing in the Huffington Post, the Hill Salon went viral. All I got was vitriol and nasty comments. You've never seen more vicious people than people on the left, and I experienced all of that. You don't see me complaining. Well, I just tell you, I had to actually write a police report, file a police report using the Twitter profile. Okay, so I took matters into my own hands, went to the police department because I got a threat on my life. But nobody's going to care on the left about a threat on my life from a left-leaning person who interestingly enough once retweeted one of my articles, and the whole thing's so bizarre. Think maybe associated with one left-leaning publication, whatever. So again, you're allowing criticism, and the people who are criticized are now experiencing negative statements from others that oppose them. That happens all the time. Rolling Stone disparaged Cigar Argenti. I mean, he should at least reach out to them and say, hey, you know what? Don't use the word right wing. He's like a conservative. I think he's conservative compared to Crystal Ball. He's not. There's nothing extreme, but he's just an intelligent, thoughtful, human being. Cigar Argenti. There's no but it was part of a hit piece. So anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right now. Now you're seeing, and he defended the Durham probe special counsel. He said that sounds pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. You go from meeting with Sussman and helping start the whole Trump-Russia absurd nonsense that basically deceived half the country, where half the country is still believing this nonsense, to joining Twitter as a and finding ways to silence even more conservatives or Republicans or Trump supporters. And oh, by the way, now Elon Musk purchased it. So sounds pretty bad. Not, oh, that's not true. It's still being litigated. Sounds pretty bad. You think Elon Musk doesn't know what they did? You think the reason Elon Musk purchased Twitter is so they don't use it against him the way they use it against Trump and everyone else. That's why he purchased Twitter. He didn't purchase. Twitter's like a failed company. $4 billion plus in debt. I mean, they make up their daily monetizable users. The whole thing is like a dystopian nightmare. It's like Tron, like the movie Tron. You just jump into the whole algorithm like you jump into the computer program or the video game like that movie. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right now. Elon Musk knows. That's why he's like talking, and they're like saying, "Oh, he's going against his promises. His contract. He doesn't own it yet." It's like, no, he can talk. What is he saying? Just because he said, "Yeah, silencing the Hunter story and sounds bad." Yeah, sorry, that's not. You know what? Get ready for Democrats and morally superior liberals should actually prepare for the way human beings interact with different viewpoints and different thoughts. And if you don't like somebody, you block them. And if they try to threaten you, you go to the police department like I did. Okay, you do all those things. Okay, like conservatives had to do, or whatever. Anyone who falls outside of the mainstream. Okay, and if you have to sue somebody for libel or blast you do it. You do it. Okay? Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. It's conservatives who've had to sue the Washington Post. It's people, when I was on the far left or way left, I had to go to the police department. Okay, when people make extreme statements, you then handle things in a rational manner. You don't complain and say, "Oh no, there's a viewpoint I don't like, and a lot of other people with those viewpoints made mean statements." Well, then you know what? Then you defeat those statements by blocking them or saying how irrational and illogical they are. And by the way, that's the same thing that's taking place. Like I said, these left-leaning publications work to disparage and demean people all the time. That's all they want to do. And then when they experience their style of politics or journalism, oh my God, they can't handle it. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel